This is Everyone Hates Anime Tourist. Why? By Red Joker. I mean, isn't this a thing about like everything, not just anime? Like every fan base and interest has some people that will be called tourists, and you know, it's kind of the same everywhere, I guess. No?
Look at all these goddamn normies ruining my Japanese anime and culture. Back in my day, we were a tight community. We accepted each other, all the weird parts and everything. How dare these tourists try to change this beautiful culture? Is what a lot of anime fans think nowadays. If you've been keeping up with discourse online, there has been an increasing amount of people hating on anime tourists. But why? Well, first, what the hell is an anime tourist?
Everybody hates everybody, I mean, seriously. Like, you know, every community is constantly being told that the other community is terrible, right? Like I check out the gaming subreddit, and every time, you know, some people are talking about one game or another, you'll have people in the comments, you know, shitting on that game, while other people saying it's the best thing ever. And then, you know, they start fighting about, you know, this game that you like is shit, and this one that I like is great. This morning there was like a funny meme of like someone making a post that they didn't enjoy The Witcher 3, and someone replying that like, I understand that people's tastes are different, but you must have some neurological problem in your head and some kind of actual disease to not be able to see how great that game is. You know, it's literally like every fandom, every interest, every media type. I mean, you know, like there's nothing that people won't fight about, you know. I mean, it is tiring sometimes.
The definition can vary slightly, but generally the term tourist refers to people who are, well, visiting. People here just to see something and have no intention of actually staying. In anime, this usually means people who start watching and talking about anime just because it's popular and trendy, and not because they actually have any intention of actually staying and getting into anime culture. But what if you're a foot in deeper than that? What if you watch anime the original way? What if you wanted to learn Japanese? I'm happy to announce that this video is sponsored by Mikaku. Mikaku is a language learning tool with comprehensive Japanese courses at a variety of levels. You can learn hiragana, katakana, vocabulary, grammar, all the way to complex kanji. These courses are meticulously handcrafted for optimized learning and gives you the full spectrum of difficulties, suitable for learning no matter what level you're at. I remember when I first wanted to move to Japan for university and had to learn Japanese. As a weeb, I tried so hard to watch anime with Japanese subtitles and had to pause and manually look up every single word I didn't know in a dictionary. That was not fun. Well, I'm glad that with Mikaku, you new Japanese learners don't have to suffer like I did anymore. Mikaku lets you ditch the boring textbooks and directly learn by engaging with anime, drama, or honestly whatever media you want to interact with. Compatible with Netflix, Disney Plus, and even YouTube. With just a click, you can easily translate words.
That's really smart, since obviously the best way to learn things to be interested, so if you can combine learning with something you already enjoy, that's smart.
Make flashcards and track your language learning process. This is by far my favorite feature. I genuinely wish I had this when I was learning Japanese. This is what I used to do, except manually with 10 more steps. I should use this if I ever learn Korean seriously. Oh yeah, Mikaku doesn't just have Japanese. A Mikaku subscription gives you access to Mandarin, Korean, Cantonese, and many more languages and features. Mikaku offers learning to a huge range of languages. And because I know my audience, many of you guys actually want to learn Japanese, Mikaku has allowed me to give you guys a special offer. 50% off the lifetime plan or an additional free month on the standard and early access plans. If you're interested, be sure to take advantage of their special discount offer. Link in description. Now back to some tourist talk. There are multiple reasons fans hate tourists. The first one is the fear of outsiders changing the medium. It's not that there's a problem with people checking out the new medium. We're all new to anime or anything at some point. What people hate is when these outsiders, who have no intention of actually becoming long-term anime fans, try and call things problematic or bitching to bend the medium to what they want to see instead. I'm sure you know, but anime is a very unique medium. The way storytelling is done, the way animation is used to portray unique sceneries and exaggerated expressions, and even many tropes and subcultures like tsundere, yandere, harem anime where you're rooting for your best girl like a sports race, my weekly trash can isekai, idol fan culture, or you know, the romance trope where the guy and girl interact for 10 billion million episodes with little to no progression but are too invested in the characters we keep watching, hoping for some progression, like we're being infinitely edged. I'm not saying all of them are things that make for good shows, that's subjective. But there are people that grew up with these tropes, grew up with anime, and love them for what they are. For people who never got into anime early on, or don't really understand Japanese culture or jokes, these can range from weird to even problematic. For example, the infamous lolly debate. Oh boy. So
I knew we were gonna get there. My take on it, as always, is like, I totally understand people thinking it's really weird. I'm into it. I don't mind it. I don't think I'm actually into kids in real life. Someone is gonna say, you're automatically a pedo if you're into lollies. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think that. I don't agree with that. I can only tell you that I'm not into kids in real life. If someone chooses not to believe it, it's kind of their choice, right? I think, like, it's one of those things that, like, you can't really argue with people because, yeah, like, if someone feels that strongly about it, I mean, you can't really change their mind. Some people say sometimes, like, it's cheap to use the video game violence argument, where, if I play GTA and I kill people, I don't want to do it in real life. So it's the same thing with, like, like, lolly anime, lolly dojin, same thing. Like, I have no interest in doing that in real life. It's like a fictional fantasy thing. But, yeah, I understand some people don't agree with it, and I don't think I'd call them tourists for that thing, right? I think for me it's more like, we're clearly very different people with very different way to look at the world, and it's fine. I don't think I'd call them tourists. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think anime tourist is a bit of a cheap term anyway. It's not like the right way to put it, especially like not for a debate like this. I think like this is more like a difference in way of thinking kind of thing. I don't know. Like sometimes I think I should have like better arguments about this subject, since obviously I don't mind like lolly, I don't mind guru, I don't mind incest anime. Like I don't care about any of it being problematic. It's all fictional stories, right? As long as you're not into that in real life, who cares? But when I say it, it feels like such a simple argument that yeah, like some master debater will be great at shutting down or something. But again, for me, it's like I'm not trying to like go into deep argument about it because it's a simple belief, right? Like in the same way I believe you shouldn't kill people. It doesn't go very deep or something. It's just a simple, straightforward belief of like if it's fictional, who cares? If you don't do it in real life, who cares? I don't know. It doesn't go very deep for me. But again, I don't think like people who aren't into that, are like tourists or like they shouldn't be into anime, right? There's a lot of like more normal anime that they should be into, and I think it's fine to say that like lolly stuff, guru stuff, incest stuff is not normal. I think that's fine. That's fair enough. I mean, I don't really think it's weird to say, but again, like it is definitely a kind of subject where people like on both sides just can't talk, can't debate like normally, right? It's the kind of subject that really rile up people, and so I think it's just one of the things where like people have to agree to disagree because I think like people won't really ever really change each other's mind with that, and it's fine. Yeah.
So in case you haven't been keeping up, which in that case, good for you, don't get into it, do not install Twitter. Lollies are this archetype of anime
I haven't been on Twitter in years.
short and petite. Some perceive it as
Actually, I think I just lost my Twitter account. Like recently with losing my channel, I had for the first time reconnected to Twitter for like making a post to YouTube, and then I got an email recently that Twitter banned my account for something. And I was too lazy to even look. I was like, I don't even care. So I think I lost my Twitter account for some reason, yeah. Saying the thing shouldn't exist and people who enjoy it are criminals is really different. Right, yeah, it's a matter of like, being able to see things in more than black and white, I guess. That's a matter of that, yeah. By the way, this isn't even a really character. What's that show? RPG Fudosei. It's a RPG real estate. It's like girls selling house to fantasy creature. It's pretty good.
childlike. Some just think they're small women. Now, as you know, anime is a medium with a lot of sexualization and romance and stuff. Lollies have been a very prominent part of anime for a very long time. Most anime, even top-rated anime, have a lolly or two. It's not a rare sight at all. It's very ingrained in anime culture. In fact, there are even widely acclaimed anime like Dragon Maid, Hidden Treasures like Nonon Biori, or popular anime-styled games like Blue Archive where this is a huge focus. The lolly's age can range from 7 to 10 million. Some anime fans think it's very cute. The tourists don't like.
lolly definitely like the definition gets pretty confused. For some people, it's like anyone underage is a lolly, so it gets very confused. The definition. I don't even have a clear definition myself. Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know.
So war broke out. Is this socially appropriate? Does the lolly's actual age matter? Does her appearance matter more? What's the line between cute and sexualization? Are we nurturing weirdos? She's a drawing, so does it even matter? Basically, everyone has different opinions on this, but what anime fans hate about these tourists is this has long been a part of our anime culture. Why are you trying to change it? I don't think it's others' opinions that bother them the most. Everyone has their own opinions. It's the fact that some tourists bitch and actively want lollies removed from anime. Obviously, different cultures across the world have different perspectives and viewpoints, so there's a feeling of why are you coming to our space, trying to push your morals onto our culture? Why are you trying to censor us based on your values? I think there's a feeling of being culturally intruded, and it's also the
I've been watching part 5 recently. Subaru from the live is doing reaction. I forgot how funny part 5 is.
fact that it's outsiders who have no intention to actually become longtime anime fans or become submerged into the anime are for some reason the ones trying to change the medium fans have held dear for so long. It's not just about lollies, this framework pretty much holds up for any subject in anime. Fan service.
And in real life, I mean, we just watched the Skyrim woke video, right? And the whole like woke movement or progressive movement, to use a term that's like less stereotype, I guess. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, right? Like it's people with belief that want to change the established ways things are, right? And if we go at something as simple as like like the gender thing, right? Like on one side, it seems so crazy that some people get so mad that someone that they don't even know wants to call themselves like they or she or whatever, right? Like it seems like such why do you give a shit so much? I mean, don't you have your own life to live? And even if you argue it's to protect the children or something, it's kind of insane. It's just a word, like it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, it's really like not that different, right? I think it's like some people who like people just don't like change, I guess. And also like debating these days have become such a thing, but like no one is really willing to hear the other side for real. People are sure that they are right and that they are righteous, and so only what they say matter and is the right thing. So again, like with any discourse about stuff like this and any subject really these days, I mean, it's more like two people fighting with no intention of being open to changing their mind or like hearing the other side. You're just trying to like preach your own belief, and that's it. That's the whole point, I guess. For the most part, I don't think 100% of everybody is like this, right? But the popular, usually like talked about discourse tends to be like that, right?
This is a long time thing in anime. Komiket, doujin culture, idol culture. Some people don't like how so many anime are based in high school. They're all unique in their own way to anime culture. Because of how big anime has gotten, the discourse has even further spread because some huge creators who didn't really have anything to do with anime started talking about anime, and some like Moist Critical have made videos criticizing what he doesn't like about the medium of anime, like characters' age. Whether a lot of these arguments by tourists make sense or not is up for debate. Perhaps some do and some don't. But I think regardless,
I don't get it. Like, again, like, why are you a tourist? Even if you've only watched one anime, if you liked it and you want to watch more, and even if you have like some things you don't like, it's fine. I mean, I could go on and on about all the things I don't like about anime. Am I a tourist? Have I not watched enough yet to not be a tourist? I mean, I could criticize a lot of stuff.
Of whether they do, it's a particularly sensitive subject because
that I wish would change.
For a lot of longtime anime fans, anime is not just cartoons from Japan. It was a unique space they grew up with stories that shaped their perspectives, changed their lives. It feels insulting that some outsider wants to change something that's just existed in its own space for so long as if it were natural. It feels like, what gives you the right to barge?
So yeah, I do get that sentiment, the sentiment of this used to be niche, and now that it's popular, it feels kind of like weird. One of the things that I felt the most like that in the last few years was Ado, the singer. I mean, when I started reacting to her, she was big, but still, mostly only known in Japan and mostly known like in Utaite Circle, right? 5 years ago. And it was awesome to know such an epic talent, right? And obviously I wanted her to be more popular, but now that she's become so popular, that like I see all of the big reaction channels doing it and stuff like that. There's a part of me that's like sometimes thinking, getting a bit of that feeling of, you know, kind of, I don't know, gatekeeping maybe. It's like, you know, I used to react to her when she was not as well known, and now all those, you know, people who are only doing it because their viewers are telling them are doing it. I get that a little bit. I do feel like that sometimes, but obviously, you know, I just have to think that it's a stupid way to feel and just move on from that, right?
In and demand change when you're just an outsider, a visiting tourist. This brings me to my second argument. The tourists aren't real fans. What some of you might not know is that anime was not always as widely accepted as it is today. A decade or two ago, people got bullied for watching anime. They were seen as the weirdos. It was super stigmatized. So when anime like Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen blow up, these tourists or normies who once made fun of anime fans suddenly come flocking because it's the new trendy thing. It's not even that they seriously want to ingrain themselves in the culture. They're just chasing trends, and to some longtime anime fans, it can feel insulting. Like, you're not a real fan. You're not the one that stuck with it through the hard times when it wasn't popular. You're just here because it's trendy, not because you like anime, and you don't even get bullied or made fun for liking anime. Why did I get bullied? I think there might even be some resentment there. Combine this with the fact that these tourists are actively trying to change anime to conform to more mainstream values, and yeah, it pisses fans off. It's like, why are you, an outsider, a fake fan, a mere trend chaser, trying to change what made anime so special to me? And that brings me to my very last point, industry change. Anime, although very special to many people, is still a business. Anime companies want to make money. Welcome to Society 101, it's depressing. Back in the day, much of anime's revenue relied on stuff like Blu-rays or premium merch that hardcore fans would buy and support. So many anime would cater to these small circles of people, creating some very unique works and subcultures. Just look at Love Live fans. But things have changed a little bit. While the niche stuff definitely still exists, anime like Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen are reaching numbers outside Japan unimaginable in the past. Demon Slayer is literally competing with mainstream stuff like Marvel and DC. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that anime is mainstream now, and with big international companies like Sony and Netflix being involved in the industry, there is a genuine fear of big anime.
Fucking Netflix, I haven't fully kept up, but I saw that they are already fucking up the release of part 7 of JoJo, Still Will Run. They released one episode, and then I think it's been weeks, and they haven't released more or something. And they had already really messed up with part 5. They had completely destroyed the popularity of part 6. You know, I guess I'm a tourist right now because I'm about to complain about anime, but man, do I hate Netflix way of releasing anime. I mean, I won't even watch it weekly myself, but the way it's kind of like killed some of the momentum of this show has been very sad to see. Very sad to see.
Being sterilized. I mean, the best way to make money when you're big is to appeal to as wide of an audience as possible.
But it's not really true. I mean, I saw a discourse recently, I think it was a Japanese game, where the developer had said, you know, we really wanted to try to appeal to the Western audience with this one, and the game ended up being like kind of terrible and people didn't like it. And then on reflection, it might have been a comment or something that was saying that, you know, the reason people like Japanese games so much is because they are weird in their own way, and even if they don't like every aspect, you know, like if you don't like loli, for example, you know, a lot of the weirdness of Japanese media is what makes it so special. So if you try to appeal too much to, you know, the Western side, I mean, you've lost it, and then you're not really appealing anymore because you don't have the specialness. And I think a lot of, you know, for the most part, anime, manga, and light novels still to this day, I think they've still got that idea down, you know, that like their stuff can be very popular overseas, but it's for the most part because of how Japanese it can be. So I think it's not that much of a problem. You know, well, I think it's Darwin Incident, yeah. I was talking about the game, but no, I think it's the current anime or last anime, Darwin Incident. I was reading a Reddit post about it and I haven't watched it, but he was talking about how, you know, it seemed like it really tried to appeal to like Western audience with lingo and stuff like that. And that's maybe why it seems to have such a mixed reception. What again, you know, weird, kind of unique anime like Freeland, for example, which, you know, is a very Japanese kind of like fantasy anime thing. ended up appealing to everybody by just being good in its own way. Does that make sense? I think I got confused in what I was trying to say. Yeah, I lost myself.
Possible. Unique stories and controversial themes, while very interesting to analyze artistically, will realistically never become as big as anime that's simple and inoffensive enough to appeal to even kids and, well, normies, the general public, the kind of stuff you could show your mom and be entertained together. It's why shonen anime is so popular despite some stories not being as deep or emotional. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I enjoyed Solo Leveling, but it's just a phenomenon that needs to be pointed out. In other words, when anime becomes mainstream through the spread of normies, anime companies have a legitimate interest to make stuff more advertiser-friendly, more generic to attract a wider audience, and this is something that anime fans fear, like anime sort of.
But my counterpoint to this, and something that I've been preaching to you guys for years, is that anime is in a better state than it's ever been, because there's so much more people watching, even if they're tourists, even if they only care about like the popular shows or the shonen that are less interesting. The fact that there's so much more money, people watching, means that there's so much more anime being made every season, and so there's so much more bad anime, but also so much more good one. And you know, I'm talking about like a lot of like unknown one that, you know, most people won't even know, but seriously, because there's so much more anime, there's so much more chance for a good one. And yeah, genuinely, I think, you know, my argument is that this is all a good thing for the most part. I mean, for the most part, but yeah, I don't know. For me, you know, this is all pretty good, I would say.
This is being bought up by big companies, then made to appeal to these tourists, these outside people. Anime made for mass consumption instead of more experimentation, ruining the medium they had loved for so long.
I quite hope. Watch it, it's a great show.
The idea is insulting to some anime fans and a legitimate fear for the future. And also, on a side note, some of these companies' decisions actively ruin the anime's hype. Look at what Netflix did to JoJo. Give me back my weekly episodes. Or
I don't know if they haven't learned the lesson, right? Like, they fucked up part 5, part 6, and I think there was some other anime where, like, again, they flip-flop. Sometimes they do the full season release, sometimes they decided to do the weekly release, and yet they still haven't learned the lesson. Like, this is one of the most anticipated anime they've had in a long time, part 7 of JoJo, and yet they already fucked it up. I don't understand how that can happen. Like, just release it weekly, it's not that hard.
every anime exclusively locked behind Disney Plus. RIP in summertime rendering. Of course, I don't think it's at the mass consumption stage yet. We still have plenty of crazy unique ideas, and anime quality is better than it has ever been. But I think it is a fear of some people, especially after seeing how big shonen anime has gotten, and the numbers are starting to reflect this. Studies show that the percentage of revenue coming from international fans as opposed to Japanese fans has rapidly been increasing, to the point where it's surpassed 50% for the first time in the past few years, reaching 56.5% in 2024. So yes, now more money comes from international fans than Japanese fans, showing that this could be a possible founded fear. For now, Japan still seems to focus on appealing to its domestic market more than internationally. Ano, the creator of renowned anime Evangelion, even says that anime should be made to appeal to the Japanese, to be authentically Japanese, and
Then it might be him that I got that quote from, yeah. That might have been what I was talking about. Makes sense that he would say that, I mean. Like, his stuff is, you know, the perfect representation of, like, you know, weird Japanese stuff, right? I mean,
international fans should be the ones to adapt, to which many anime fans agree with. Because of all these fears and hate for tourists, some anime fans have started gatekeeping anime, not wanting the medium of anime to be sullied by these outsiders, though how effective it is questionable, considering how much anime is still growing internationally. But what's your take on this? Is the hate on tourists justified? Do you want anime to keep getting bigger? Are newcomers alright as long as they're not bitching about wanting to change the medium? Or are some of the changes they want
I mean, do you want robots? I mean, people will have opinion. That's just the way it is, yeah.
actually justified? I don't think there's a right answer to this, so I really want to hear your opinions. Do tell me in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and once again, thank you so much to Migaku for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check out my new Patreon video, definitely not for tourists, if you want to support me. And special thanks to Facin.
Alright, well, I think I've mostly said what I think. And I don't know. Again, I think, you know, some of the big debates, like, people's mind won't be changed, right? I mean, the lolly debate is like probably the biggest one, right? And people really get so extreme about it. And I understand that, for some people, yeah, like to them it's as simple as, if you're into lolly, that means you are automatically into kid in real life. But to me, if you think like that, you're the one with a broken brain, with no ability to think more than black and white, right? But to them, I'm the pedo, so I'm like, fucked up or something, right? And once people think like that, I mean, there's not much to do, right? I mean, there's literally no point in arguing, no point in fighting. It's just like, like better not interact. I don't know what to say beyond that, right? And then, while this is the biggest topic, there's a lot more topic that people are always like shitting on, right? The high school setting, the Adam, the this, the that, the misogyny, the whatever. I'm not saying like a lot of this topic aren't like worth discussing, but it's more like, people don't really discuss anything. They just have like a strong opinion and believe they are like godly right. And, like everybody who doesn't agree with them is evil, and that's the end of it. So I think in the end, there's not much more to do than just like moving on, not talking to them, and that's about it. Yeah. Yeah. I understand that some people would like fight back against this kind of thing. Is because they're afraid that like those people with their strong extreme opinion will get things to be changed. So just leaving them alone is not enough. You have to fight them on it or something. I don't know. It's all above my pay grade. It's all too tiring for me to think about. I think it's just like, yeah. I mean, what do you want me to do about it? I don't know. I just don't like, like there's some term these days I don't feel like, stuff like tourist and slop. I think they've lost their meaning so much. People will call anything slop. People will call anybody tourist if they just have like an opinion you don't agree with. It's, yeah, modern discourse is fucked, is my review of this. Here's the link. Great video, great video. Okay, well, I enjoyed that.